Hi, everybody. I'm Shane Shatters, and welcome once again to the latest episode of Shane Shatters Presents Classic Indies. Some of the great independent matches from all over the world over the last 30 years. Last week, we brought you some action from the island of Saipan from one of the great tours of Tricky Dick Kirchhoff did back in 1990, 1991. And we're going to continue that theme this week as we're going to go down to the ring with the man who allegedly was the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, the Honkytonk Man, takes on my dear friend, back then known as Chippendale, Tom Brandy. So let's go to the tape now. Honky's on the outside on the apron. He's already made his way. We're going to be seeing a little bit of Honky later on. Here in the next several weeks, we're going to do a celebration of the 30-year anniversary of a very significant match that took place here in the Hagerstown, Maryland area. But before that, we're going to see Honky take on the Chippendale, a man who of many talents. He makes his way around the ringside area. Tom Brandy has always been a friend to me. We've known each other. We met each other initially in 1991. And he told the story when I saw him a few weeks back at Riverbend Park, as we met each other when I was a 17-year-old kid cooking at Denny's. And he had come into the restaurant with Rick Rude and another individual. And he was impressed that I knew who he was because he had not yet been on national television. But I was such a wrestling fan and junkie as a kid. I watched everything and knew everything from everywhere. Honky-Tonk Man, probably the biggest bastard in wrestling. Quite frankly, just a big mouth, gutless turd. But in all fairness, a great performer. I have to say that when I was younger, I was a very big Honky Tonk Man fan. It took me till many years after to realize that Honky is just the kind of guy who just likes to badmouth people, but really not tough enough to ever stand right up to them. Just a personal opinion. Other people may have a different opinion of Mr. Ferris. What's Tom wearing here? Did Tom have an airline problem like Rick Rude had last week? No, I think he's wearing his regular tights, but Tom firing them up and Honky taking a scoot. Honky's not going to rush his way into action here. He is going to get the people stirred up, and he's going to do it when he wants to do it. I think that Honky Tonk Man was an excellent showman. He knew what to do. He knew how to do it. We're going to be seeing him in action. As I said, we've seen him in action previously here on Shane Shatters Presents. His matches always elicit a great response and strong reactions because he is so genuinely unlikable that it comes across to the crowd. Ducking and dodging here as Dave the Wave, your referee, tries to encourage him to lock up with the man then known as the Chippendale. Tom Brandy had a lot of different incarnations throughout his career. He's been reinvented many different times, and he's been in the wrestling business since 1984. And Honky, ducking again, heading out of there.
Okay, Tricky Dick, you tell these kids to shut their filthy mouth now. I don't want to hear this.
Honky giving it to Tricky Dick here. Some PG-13 language being used at best here. Next week's episode, we'll be leaving the island of Saipan for a little bit of variety. Honky just not really interested at this point. Oh, don't mess with my hair. He's playing with his hair. Now they finally tie it up here. Let's see who gains the advantage. Brandy pushes him up along the ropes. Clean break as directed by Dave the Wave. Another Colorado big arm drag by the Honkster. He's very proud of himself at this point. Tom doesn't look too discouraged, though. I think he just got caught in the leverage spot there, and he's, not going to let it get the better of him. Back to the collar elbow. Oh, and a big hip toss by Honky. Some of the most impressive physicality that Honkytonk has had made here. Seems very pleased indeed, but still not in a rush. Still not in a rush to try to take advantage here. We're back to it again, pushing Tom up along those ropes, swinging, ducking. Nobody home, big hip toss. And a big body slam. And down to the deck goes the Honky-Tonker, and he rolls out of the ring. As Brandy tries to close in, Dave the Wave gets in between. We hope you joined us this past Tuesday night when we, Mineral County Fair, hosted Championship Pro Wrestling with all the luminaries that we had on hand. Outstanding event, and we're hoping to return next year. And follow up, our next big event will be Wednesday night, August the 4th, at the Tri-County Fair in Petersburg, West Virginia, with a very special guest, none other than former ECW World Heavyweight Champion, Rhino. The Rock and Roll Express, the Patriot, and others will be on hand Wednesday, August the 4th at the Tri-County Fair in Petersburg. Our return after a 22-year absence to the Tri-County Fair. The Chippendale wiggling a little bit, almost mocking Honky, which he did not like whatsoever. And he returned back to the apron, and Dave the Wave's putting the count on him.
Ladies and gentlemen, 5 minutes.
5 minutes gone and 2 bumps. Welcome. Honky's going to stall and stall and stall. But the crowd 100% dislikes him, which is believable. Oh, and a big right hand drops him. Look at this. Tom Brandy brings him in another big right. Wrenching up that arm here. Oh, but it cut him off very quickly with a handful of face, it looked like. Probably got a fingernail into the eye. Oh, rake in the back. That hurts. And Honkytonk, I know from being in the ring with him, has very small, girly hands with very sharp nails. Very sharp nails. Almost like a teenage girl, Frost. How a teenage girl puts those little plastic gimmicks and files them real sharp and stuff. That's how the Honky-Tonk man wears his fingernails. But he uses it to his advantage in the ring, and I don't blame him. He's trying to keep his back to Dave the Wave because he's gonna fire in another punch there right across the nose. That one will affect you, water your eyes and affect your breathing when you take a punch like that straight on. He's going to go for it again. One more time. And a good block. And a good block by Tom. Now he grabs the headlock. Now he's going to fire a shot in here, it looks like. As the crowd shows their support. And a big right to the face. And back to the headlock. And one more time. What do we got going here? It's going to be another one. Boom. Another one straight in. Like a short 6-inch punch right to the bridge of the nose. I'm surprised he didn't drop him. Honky's not that tough. And one more time, Tom's got it. And a no D4, 5, 6. Oh, down he goes. You better try to get out of the ring, Wayne. Oh, another fired one in there. Gonna wrench that arm up a little bit. Referee's only gonna allow so many punches. Back then, it was a little bit stricter in terms of the rules. Now it's anything goes. They pretty much now don't want to. I mean, you can hit a guy with a chainsaw and not get disqualified. But back then it was encouraged to keep open hands. Always break on the ropes. Holding that arm. Now Honky like he's swinging for Dave. Crank it up. The Island of Saipan hosted one of these great events. This was during the summer of 1991. We're about 30 years ago this week from these tours, if I read the tour books right. Oh, another eye rake there. So there's a lot of, right now we're doing a lot of celebration of these events, anniversary type of things. And Honky goes back to the arm. Oh, took him over. Oh, stomp the hand. Stomping the hand. Ouch. That's going to hurt. That's absolutely going to hurt. If you've ever tried to grab a hold of somebody after you had your hand stomped on, which I hope none of you ever really have, but if you've ever been in the ring, it's not very easy. You work on a hand, it's hard to make a fist. And one more time, this is a good strategy, whether you want to believe it or not. A lot of guys tend to focus on the bigger parts of the body, but there are almost no part of the body that has more fine bones in it than the hand. And punching and kicking and chopping and so forth is a big part of professional wrestling. And look at this. A big atomic drop coming up from the man soon to be known as Johnny Gunn. And another right. Oh, make a wish, Honkytonk. You better keep it above the belt, Tom. Keep it above the belt. And Dave the Waves, whoa, he turned his head. Oh, he hit Wayne. I guess he must have hit him in a fine area because it actually hurt. Here it comes. Look out. Oh my. Oh. He hung himself. He all but hung himself on that. And it looks like Honkytonk has got the either wrist tape or has pulled something out of his tights here now. I thought he about snapped his head off. Jesus. Dave the Wave not paying attention, and Honky absolutely choking him out now here. Shoving the wrist tape in his tights. Action coming to you from the island of Saipan in the South Pacific. And now Honky choking one more time, just out of the view of Dave the Wave. There were very few wrestlers who were slicker and more conniving in the ring and out of the ring than the Honkytonk man. He's coming back in with that tape again, as clearly the referee Dave the Wave is distracted by the audience participation. The more they try to tell him what Honky's doing, the less he seems to know what Honky's doing. Ramming him into the top turnbuckle. Chippendale, without a doubt, staggered and woozy at this juncture. Snapmare takeover. Oh, and another short fist drop right to the face. I don't know if this group down here at the bottom of your screen is security or they were just like a kids group or what this is, but they're all pretty much wearing uniform hats and shirts. Pretty strong turnout here. Outdoor card, the island of Saipan, which I probably couldn't find, it's like they threw a dart. Hawaiian Islands, Guam was a big part. We've had many of the Guam matches over the course of time here on Shane Shatters Presents. Wanted to bring you something with a little bit of a different look, and this is absolutely a different look. If you see the background, it's like they put up canopies along the stretch here and then on the side of the mountains. It's a very interesting place visually, but in independent wrestling, you do a lot of matches like this. That's on the comeback trail. Nice tackle by Tom Brandy. Oh, a Honky with a big knee caught him coming in. I think he was going to go for possibly a crossbody, and he just hit him right in the spot. Honky trying to go back now. He seems like he's in a little bit more of a rush now. He wants to try to put Tom Brandy away at this point, I think. Now he's really wrenching up on this with the tape across the throat. If you've ever been choked out, maybe that's the kind of thing that ordinary people haven't experienced in their lifetime. Being choked by athletic tape. By a 250-pound man who dresses like Elvis. But let me tell you something, it does not tickle. No one's trying to kill anybody in a pro wrestling match by using this weaponry, but they're certainly trying to gain the advantages and trying to win the matchups. Historically, the guy who won the match made more money. I know that seems like a novel concept now, but it was the competitive nature of wrestling was that the guys who came out on top usually got paid better. Honky wrenching up on that chin lock now. It's maybe not clear to your eye, but I know what I'm looking at. 30 years of participation have told me what I'm looking at and when I'm looking at it. Dave the Wave down there in front checking. I'm sure Honky doesn't have the tape out at this point, but I'm sure he will bring it back here whenever it's necessary. And Tom Brandy is almost certainly the kind of guy at this point in his career who's only going to fight that kind of fire when it's required. So if that opportunity comes up for him to get that piece of tape away from Honky and use it to his own advantage, he's going to have to fight fire with fire. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. 15 minutes in, and we just heard the call. Brandy trying to fire up one more time here. He's a big feather in his cap. This would be if he could upend the former Intercontinental Champion. Only a few years removed from the longest reign in the history of that championship. And he's swinging at him with that tape, and another big right, and another third one. Down he goes. You got it? Yeah. There you go. Choke him. Choke him. Got him, Tom. Tom's got him. Tom's going to pay him back for the last 10 minutes worth. And Honky's begging for mercy, just like that dog, scalded dog that he is. And now into the corner. What we got here? We're going to fire in 10. 9 and 10. Irish whip, big buckle, big clothesline. One more time, Tom's hoping for it. Oh no, took one to the back of the head. Shake, rattle, and roll. Oh no. 1, 2, that's all. That's the evening for Tom Brandy. All right, well, you got it there. The Honky-Tonk Man pins Chippendale Tom Brandy on a hot, sunny afternoon in the South Pacific Saipan Islands. We're going to see you next week here. Thank you for tuning in to Shane Shadows Presents Classic Indies.